So we have a people joining, so we can go ahead and get started. Um, we also have Abdisa Tufa from Guidance Residential here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start in the presenting mode, just in case if you're not able to hear, the voice is not audible or anything. Please let me know. And at the end, we'll have a question and answer round as well. So basically, I put together this presentation because there are so many presentations that happen from the real estate agent side, and then there are also like many presentations from the lenders such as Guidance Residential. But we want to do a collaboration and give as much information as we can. So I just wanted to give a little bit introduction about myself and why I became a realtor. So I first started real estate, getting into real estate about 5 years ago. And I started with flipping houses, buying houses, distressed properties, foreclosures, and all those, and buying them and going through the aggressive process of fixing and flipping. Usually it's about like anywhere between 4 to 6 months process, high risk involved in there. I've been to many seminars, paid tens and thousands of dollars, over $25,000 I actually paid to study and learn. They really didn't teach me the big problems that I would actually face. But when I started doing it, I had a lot of big problems that I had to face, like foundation issues, so many different things I didn't know about. So I lost hundreds and thousands of dollars, got into debts, things of that sort. Then I built myself up by learning all those mistakes and fixing all my mistakes and everything. And another bad experience I have was with realtors. I lost a lot of money because the realtors didn't make me aware of many things I need to know when I was actually buying homes from them. I mean, I was buying multiple homes like in a year. I mean, most of the people buy like 1 to 2 homes in their entire life, but I was buying and selling homes multiple times, and I was using many different realtors that didn't really help me out. So some of the things they actually lacked that I can tell you, so that you don't have to go through the same things and you can identify like what type of realtor you're working with. So the realtors that I was working with didn't made me aware of the disclosures, and they were not very good at negotiating price. They didn't had enough time to like reply to my phone calls and text messages on time because they were very busy. They were not proactive enough to make quick offers. They were like properties that were very discounted, almost like 70 at almost like 30 to 40% discount, and the buying price like 60% of the market value. And they took a lot of time, and I missed the opportunity to buy those properties because they were running all over the place and they have many other things to do. And they were unable to help me place bids on time. They lacked patience to show multiple homes. I mean, they would get really frustrated if I see like 3 to 4 homes and I didn't buy a property. They would get really frustrated because they're putting so much time and I'm not buying any homes because I couldn't find the home that I want to buy, right? And they were not very experienced enough to give me guidance, because most of those realtors were actually the ones who have written exams in order to help people, but they didn't have like real experience of buying and selling themselves. They just helped other people buy and sell. So I was looking for someone who can tell me, hey, this home have so-and-so problem, please don't buy it, you're gonna lose money. I mean, that type of realtor I didn't have. Like, they would just open the door, they would let me walk through the property, I would just look at it, they would tell me like, what do you want to do, you want to make offer? And even though they saw problems, sometimes they didn't tell me because they didn't want to stop the sale. And I bought that property, foundation issues, all these issues, I had to pay like $40,000-$50,000 just to fix those issues. Some of the other things they had problems where, didn't explain the home buying process in a right way, in contracts and everything that came in place. So I decided to become a realtor just for myself, and so that I can buy properties myself. I don't have to like hire another agent. So I became a realtor for myself. I started buying properties for my own self, and fixing and flipping. Then I had like other friends reach out to me to help them out. Then I decided to help them out, and they said, wow, like I was working with some other realtor and I didn't really know like so many things were involved. And then I started helping my other friends and family, and that's how I became a realtor and started marketing my services. And now I'm actually helping other people out. So I actually did this presentation before, and I did it in very detail. So I don't want to like take the entire time to go through the home buying process in a detailed way. You can go to my channel and look at the link which says like home buying process is right over here. That's about, I think, 30-minute video explaining everything in detail. So, but that entire presentation, I will try to rush it and wrap it up in like 10 minutes so that I can give time to Abdisa for him to go through in detail about guidance and how the guidance structure their loans to make it halal, etc. So the first important step is to pre-qualify, because you don't know like uh, how much home you qualify for. Maybe you're looking for a $3 million home, but you only qualify for a home that is worth 1.5 million, or you're looking for a home that is $400,000, but you actually qualify for a loan that is $600,000. So most important thing is to pre-qualify, right? Find a lender, like compare rates, right? You can go to multiple different lenders, talk to them, and find out like who is offering the best services, and then get reviews from other people. And you can get pre-approval letter for the maximum amount. Like for an example, you qualify for $700,000. I would recommend get a letter for $700,000 so that you can have like multiple different options to buy homes. Like maybe you're getting a very good deal. You can actually go and you don't have to revise your letter. So and in order for you to get more details of how to get pre-qualified, you can reach out to Abdi Satufa. He have helped many people pre-qualify and send his clients to me, and I actually help them start the process to buy a home. Finding a real estate agent, as I mentioned, like all the qualities that I mentioned in the beginning, they shouldn't have that, and they should have these qualities. Make sure that they have bought and sold homes for themselves, so that they know like how the process actually work, and not just helped buyers or sellers with buying homes. If they bought homes and sold themselves, they will have a lot more experience. They should have at least done 10 transactions. They should be fast communicator. They should be motivated. They should love what they're doing. I mean, you don't want to get a surgery from a doctor who hates like doing a surgery, right? That's how it is. If you're hiring a realtor who doesn't like what he's doing, he's not going to help you out very well. He should be professional, someone who can give their own input so that you can make decision, right? If you're a new home, there were so many properties I told my friends not to buy, and they really appreciated my input because later on they found better properties that fit their criteria. Identify a right home. My approach is I will tell all my buyers, make a list of 5 to 10 properties and send it to me during weekdays, and we'll schedule all those appointments on weekend. And you can look at all those properties. If you like any, we'll move forward. No worries. If you didn't find any, we'll repeat the same process the next weekend. That way, you will look at over 20 to 30 properties in a month, and that way you will learn a lot more faster. You will start comparing all those properties in your mind to make a better decision. But if you only look at 2 properties a month, you're going to take probably a really, really long time to actually make the right decision. Then it is for you to make an offer, right? Learn the competition on the home. Right now, the competition is a little bit low, so the buyers have more advantage to actually buy the properties. But when the market was hot 2 months ago, when there was no coronavirus, like each and every single property was getting 15 to 20 offers. And even though my buyers were making offers 20, 30,000 over asking price, they were still losing the bids. So learn the competition, identify the value of the home, decide, and then you can decide the contingency you should place, inspection, and read the disclosures and make the offer accordingly. Okay. Another thing is most people don't understand this. The most important thing is to place the earnest money on time. Okay. Once the offer is accepted, you will have 2 business days to deposit the earnest money. Sometimes realtors are busy. They don't tell their buyers that they should deposit the earnest money within 2 business days. Then what happens is that the contracts get canceled. Contract is null and void if the earnest money is not deposited. Usually it's about $10,000 for homes that are closer to 500,000. But if there are homes under 300,000, let's say like $200,000 range, then you can deposit $5,000. That is And in order to protect your earnest money, you can place inspection contingency and financing contingency. Let's say that the inspection had issues, then your earnest money will be back. You'll get back the earnest money. Okay. And another request I have is if you are not talking, you can go on mute. If you have questions at the end of the seminar, you can unmute yourself and you can talk. So inspection is usually 10 days. Let's say that you made an offer on a property today and you deposited earnest money tomorrow. However, you will have 10 business days to, actually 10 days, not the businesses, but 10 regular days to inspect the property and cancel the contract. You can say anything. I mean, if you find a small little thing inside the house, you can tell them, I don't want to buy the property, but inspection contingency will protect you. But usually small little problems you don't have to worry about. As long as there are no major problems, then you can move forward. But if there are major problems, I would recommend talk to your inspector, talk to your realtor and make a better decision. Major problems are roof, foundation, exterior, basement, leaks, mold, windows, things of that sort. I would say are major problems. The smaller problems are loose doorknob or paint scratches, or the closet door is a little bit wobbly, it's not closing properly. Things of that sort are okay. You don't have to worry too much about it. Sorry that I'm rushing a little bit faster because I want to give up this an opportunity to talk, because this presentation is, I've already done this presentation before. As I said, you can go and check it out. Okay, appraisal. This is something very important. Let's say that I came to Seattle and I really don't know about the market, and a house is worth $500,000, but someone is selling that house for $1 million. I go there and I place an offer, and I decided to purchase, and I make an earnest money deposit of $10,000, and somebody's trying to fool me. They want to sell that property to me for $1 million. What will happen is, when you apply for the loan, such as guidance or any other loan, they will order appraisal. They will make sure that the property is not worth, property is worth at least $1 million. If the property is not worth $1 million, then the financing will be canceled and your earnest money will be returned. So appraisal will protect you that way. Okay. And then when it's closing, you will have a settlement statement, right? And in settlement statement, you will go through the settlement statement, closing documents, and once the closing is done, you can call the agent and get the keys for it. Okay. So things to keep in mind during this process: when you are having a loan in process, just make sure you don't apply for new credit cards, don't buy furniture, or don't deposit any major cash into your bank account. So for an example, maybe you have a piggy bank or something like that you've been saving like 10 or 20, $30,000, and you want to use that cash towards the closing. But if you deposit that cash into your bank account like 10 days before the closing, the lender might not accept it. So you might want to talk to your lender how you can utilize the money, what funds qualify for the funding or not. So make sure you don't deposit any major cash accounts. Don't apply for any loans like car loans, personal loans, while you're going through the loan process, because you might buy a home, you might qualify, everything will go fine. One day before the closing, if the lender see any new loans that actually came on your credit, your entire loan can be canceled. So you have to make sure that you don't add any new things. You can buy furniture and everything after you have bought the home. You can go, if you're looking to buy a car or anything like that, you can go and talk to the dealer and make sure the car is good and everything, but you can do the transaction once you have purchased the home and you have moved into the home. So just make sure that you don't do it. So these are the two properties that are recently sold. I mean, these are not the properties that are sold in past 6 months or something like that, but these were sold in the past 2 weeks. The property on the left was closed with Guidance Residential with Abdi Satufa, my buyer who actually bought it. He's actually a, it's a new construction home. The coronavirus actually made a little bit tricky for us to close this home on the left, because the new construction home need to have like special permits and permission, things of that sort, to make everything perfect for it to sell. But we still were able to close it about, I think what, 10 days ago. And the one on the right-hand side was a property that I made an offer about 3 days ago. So this is a buyer that I've been working for 1 year, and we were making offers on properties, but we always lose bids. If the listing price is 400,000, we would make an offer for 410,000, 415,000, $420,000. But every time we actually make a bid, either at listing price or above the asking price, we'll still lose the bid because of the competition. There are buyers who are desperate, wanted to make an offer 20, 30, $40,000 over asking. But this time, because there was no competition, everybody were home, we actually went to this property and got this property under contract for $400,000 about 2 days ago, and now it's pending. So the one on the right hand side, 705 136 Place, units A3. So that's going to close on April 30th. And another thing that I want to talk about is the coronavirus updates. So there are two things with the coronavirus updates. The thing is that right now, the inventory is a little bit low. So we are expecting the inventory to increase so that the buyers have more options, but the competition is a little low. So the buyers can take advantage of it. And also the interest rates, profit rates are also a little low. So for an example, if the mortgage rate is 1% low, that is basically someone will be saving 1% every year. So if the home is, if the loan amount is $400,000, then they will be saving $4,000 per year. And over the period of 30 years, they'll be saving about $120,000. So the mortgage rate actually is a significant, you know, if you're getting a reduced percentage. Abdul Tufa can talk a little bit more about it. So I just want to just stop right now and just have Abdul Tufa take it over. And I will also send you a link for and a home buying process presentation I did before, so that you can maybe slow down the speed a little bit and watch it on YouTube and take your own time to learn it. And then at the end of the Abdisa's talk, you will have an opportunity to ask questions as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Abdisa, you can actually.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you, Abdul Rahman, for the good inshallah, explanation about real estate. So my name is Abdisa Tufa with Guidance Residential here in the state of Washington. I will talk about guidance residential and Islamic finance in general, and inshallah. So I will start with the Quran ayah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي تخبطه الشيطان من المس ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا. This is from Quran chapter 2, verse 275. Those who take unlawful interest will stand before God on the day of judgment, are those whose mind has been corrupted by the influence of shaitan. They say that commerce is just like interest, but God has made commerce lawful and has forbidden interest. So the goal for Guidance Residential is to make Muslim Americans a homeowner, achieve the American dream the halal way. There's a huge need out there. There's a lot of Muslims qualified to purchase a home, has been renting for a long time. So alhamdulillah, Guidance Residential came up with the solution to be compliant with the US law and Islamic law as well. So amazingly, actually, other Abrahamic faiths like Judaism and Christianity have the same view on riba. Sadly, is not practiced today. Founding father of this country as well had a negative view of usury or riba. For example, John Adams says there are two ways to conquer and enslave a nation. One is by sword, the other is by date. Thomas Jefferson said, I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than a standing army. So inshallah, having said that, a little bit about riba, Guidance Residential was established in 1999 with multi-million-dollar research and development that involved 6 of the world leading Islamic scholars on Islamic finance. We launched in 2002 in 3 states. Alhamdulillah, in 2009, when the market was crashing, when the financial market was crashing, Guidance Residential, actually, we had one of our best year. We were recognized by a lot of medias. In 2015, AMJA, Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America, they actually gave us endorsements. After 1 year research, they say Guidance Residential is the only Islamic finance that is actually approved by AMJA. Today, we are more than 30 states. We're more than 30 states, alhamdulillah. We helped more than $5 billion Islamic financing, and about 24,000 Muslim Americans to became homeowners through our program. So Guidance Residential is a part of a much larger corporation called Capital Guidance, which is owned by Dr. Mohammed Hamour. He's the sole owner of the whole organization. So it was founded 50 years ago, Capital Guidance, by families from Middle East. Today we're based in DC, the Capital Guidance. And Capital Guidance actually have offices, 77 offices in 27 countries, having different kind of business sectors. I don't want to spend a lot of time on Capital Guidance. I will talk about how Guidance Residential works. Today we are in more than 30 states, alhamdulillah. And our program is actually a declining balance co-ownership contract, which I'll come to into detail and explain to you how it works. So this is the state that we actually licensed. Myself, I'm licensed in Washington and Oregon, but we have about 30 states that Guidance operates. So we're the only Islamic finance company actually that has independent Sharia board who supervise our transactions. The very famous one is Dr. Justice Muhammad Taqi Usmani. He's a justice in Pakistan. Is a person actually that's called the father of Islamic finance. And in this year, actually, he was the #1 Muslim influential around the world, Muhammad Taqi Usmani. He actually wrote our contract. He's the chairman of our Sharia board. Also, Muhammad Taqi Usmani actually is the chairman of the IOFI. IOFI is Accounting and Auditing Organization of Islamic Finance. This is an international non-profit organization that actually audits all Islamic finance, Islamic banking around the world. So Muhammad Taqi Usmani is the chairman of Guidance Sharia board, and also he's the chairman of a lot of banks, Islamic banks around the world. Our fatawas are available for public, online, available, inshallah. So AMJA, as I mentioned earlier, AMJA actually is Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America, based in Texas. They issue fatawas on Islamic issue, whether it's Islamic home financing, whether it's student loan, whether it's a marriage. Every year they issue fatwa. Inshallah, on the website. I'll be very happy to share with you their website that clearly states that Guidance Residential is the only Islamic finance that is truly Sharia compliant in the United States. So having said that about guidance, our communities know that riba is haram, but there's a lot of misunderstanding even what is riba itself. So riba is, or interest, is a profit made from lending or borrowing transaction. In Islam, money has no intrinsic value. Money as a means of exchange is not acceptable in Islam. So what is permissible in Islam? Loan without profit or charity. Trading is permissible. Buying and selling is permissible. So in the United States, there's the methods of Islamic financing: murabaha, which is purchase and resale; ijara, lease to own; or musharaka, the most famous one, or partnership, which is the Guidance Residential practices. Musharaka itself has two parts, which is asset ownership, shirkatul milk; business venture, shirkatul aqd. Currently, Guidance Residential, we only do in shirkatul milk, which is asset ownership. The goal is here for Guidance Residential to make Muslim Americans homeowners, not as a business. So musharaka compared to murabaha and ijara has the benefits. So the major benefits, alhamdulillah, is approved by independent Sharia board in the United States, where other Islamic financing methods are not actually approved in the United States for mortgage. It's a no-recourse commitment. In case of default, or Guidance Residential would not pursue the home buyer for any recourse. It means that if the home buyer defaulted, Guidance would not pursue them for any judgment. This is the benefit of musharaka. Another benefit is no prepayment penalty. If the home buyer or the customer want to pay in advance, Guidance Residential will not charge any penalty for that. Let's say if the contract was 30 years and the home buyer wanted to buy the house in 5 years, they can do so with any restriction whatsoever. The other one, very important clause, is shared risk. The only Islamic finance or any banking in the United States that is Guidance Residential. In case of natural disaster or eminent domain, Guidance Residential will share the risk of monetary loss with the home buyer. Late payments as well is fixed to $50. It will never compound like conventional. Let's say if the home buyer is late for 4 months, we just pay $200 and we'll be back to the contract. With conventional, what happens is every month the interest rates compound, and the home buyer doesn't even know how much he owns by the time he actually forecloses on the property, inshallah. So our contract is called declining balance co-ownership. which means I will give you an example. Let's say the house was $100,000. So the homeowner came was, let's say, 20,000 down payments, which is 20%, right? The homeowner would own 20%, guidance would own 80%. So every month our share declines, the homeowner's share increases until he becomes a person owner, would be out. I will go into detail, inshallah, explain what that in detail. So I have a diagram here explaining the relationship between the home buyer and guidance, and the relationship between a bank and a buyer. Here, with guidance residential, the buyer and guidance residential agrees on a co-ownership contract. You're the buyer, we are the co-owner. Here, the mortgage loan, you're the buyer, the bank is a lender, and you agree on interest rates. You borrow money from the bank, buy the house. Your ownership is 100% here, since actually you borrowed money from the bank and bought it. With guidance, your ownership is your down payment. Let's say this example, 30% down payment will buy you 30% share in the house. 70% share is owned by guidance, which means 70% of the risk is owned by guidance residential. In Islam, you cannot sell something without taking risk. You cannot make a profit unless you incur risk. Ownership bring a risk. Banks here, they have no ownership whatsoever in the house. You own the house, anything that comes with the house is your problem. You pay back the loan. As the time goes, your share goes up with guidance residential. Every month when you make a payment, part of the payment will go to guidance as the profit since we own the property, and part of it goes to the house to make the payment every month to increase your share. So eventually you become 100% owner here with guidance. Here with the loan contract, you pay off the bank, the loan plus interest, you eventually pay off the loan. That's what makes it different, inshallah. So here, guidance residential, to summarize it, is a co-ownership contract. Banks, no, they don't do a co-ownership. Other Islamic bank, no, they don't do co-ownership. Our contract is riba free since there is no any loan transaction, there is no riba. Guidance residential, of course, there is no riba. Other banks, yes, of course. And other Islamic banks as well, yes, with some conditions. No-recourse commitment, again, yes, guidance residential doesn't have a no-recourse commitment. In case of default, we don't come after you. Late payments are kept with guidance, yes. With banks, it's gonna compound. Risk sharing, again, this is the only clause that's done by guidance residential. No prepayment penalty. If you want to own the house in advance, you can do so with no restriction whatsoever. Guidance residential is not affiliated with any bank. We're not related to a bank. We're not affiliated with bank. We don't bring money from the bank. We're actually Muslim-owned organization. Our contract is an equity partnership. Yes. Banks is a loan transaction. Endorsed by AMJA. Yes, guidance is endorsed by AMJA. Other banks are not. I will summarize it for you again. Guidance residential is a co-ownership contract where the home buyer and guidance residential buy the property together, and every month when the home buyer makes a payment, will buy a share of them from guidance residential. There's no riba involved since there is no loan transaction. It's a no-recourse commitment again. Late payments will never compound like a conventional loan. We have, alhamdulillah, independent Sharia board who supervise our contract, which is led by Muhammad Taqi Usmani. Alhamdulillah, we endorsed by AMJA in 2015. Risk sharing as well, in case of natural disaster, any loss, guidance will share risk with the home buyer. No prepayment penalty. If you want to buy the house in advance, you can do that. We're not affiliated with any bank. Most other Islamic banks, actually, they are owned by a bank. They're subsidiary of a bank, and they open Islamic finance window. Guidance is different. Alhamdulillah, that's why we have about 90% of the market share of Islamic finance. So I will give you a scheduled payment example, how guidance residential works. This is a scenario. This is a while ago. The rates were higher then. The rates are down right now. For example, this one, $100,000 contract amount for 15 years term with 180 payments. The profit rate was 3.75. So with that, this is how it's structured. For example, the home buyer on 20% when it started. Every month they make a payment, your share goes up here from 20%, 21%, 24, 28, until you become 100% owner. Our balance declines every month. Our profits, every time your share goes up, your ownership increases, our profit declines as well from 300, 311, 290, 228, until it's zero. This is how it's structured, inshallah. So when your share goes up, our profit declines. So this is, inshallah, I want to summarize it for you in one slide here. Sorry about that. I hope you can see this. So this is what makes guidance residential different to conventional or as Islamic finance. I want to summarize it for you with this one. So co-ownership contract, there's no other Islamic finance or bank that's co-ownership contract. Alhamdulillah, guidance is a Sharia compliant contract. It's called co-ownership or musharaka al-mutanafasa. Risk sharing, yes. Riba free, since there is no loan, there is no riba involved. No prepayment penalty with guidance. Late payments, there is no late payments compounded like conventional bank. No recourse commitment. Independent Sharia board, alhamdulillah, and endorsed by AMJA, which actually is available on their website. I will share with you the link later on. So we provide a 30 years, 20 and 15 years contract, purchase contract, or refinance. If you have currently with a conventional bank, you can refinance to guidance residential as well. So the process is the first step. Abdul Rahman talked about it a little bit, but I want to summarize it here. The first step is to pre-qualify, means we just get a basic information about your credit score, your income, and your down payments. Then you provide the documents, you get a pre-approval. If you want to go out and put an offer with Abdul Rahman to put an offer on the house, for the seller to take you seriously, you need to have a pre-approval letter. Pre-approval means we have to take a complete application, get your document, your tax return, W-2s, pay stubs, and get you pre-approved. Once you have a pre-approval, it's as good as a cash offer. Then once you have approval, you start searching for home, you put an offer. Then as Abdul Rahman talked about it earlier, you maintain your financial profile until you close on the house. Then within 30 days, we can close for you and get your key, inshallah. So the first step is, of course, to get a pre-qualification, pre-approval. You connect with me. Alhamdulillah, I'm one of the representatives here in Washington State. You connect with me, we'll start the process and see how much you could qualify. So there are three major criteria for us to get you approved. One, we look at income. You have to be employed or self-employed for the last 2 years. We look at your year-to-date pay stub. We look at your debt to income, means like all your liabilities divided by your income, including the new mortgage that you're buying. And a credit report, minimum credit report, guidance residential, we accept 620. And of course, the bank statements, your bank has to be, your money, for, the down payment money has to be in account at least for 30 days seasoned. And the minimum down payment with guidance residential, we have a 3% with first-time home buyer program. We also have introduced actually a new program. If someone can qualify for it, up to 2,500 credits towards the down payment. These are the documents required. We just want to go up over it. We look at 30 days pay stub, W-2s, tax return last 2 years, 2 months bank statement or stocks. And if you're self-employed, we need a complete bank tax return with the complete schedules. I don't want to go over the home benefit of home ownership, inshallah. So this is again Muhammad Taqi Usmani. This is a journalist. He came. Muhammad Taqi Usmani, actually the most influential Muslim around the world this in 2020. He's the chairman of our contract. He wrote our contract as well. This is my presentation, inshallah. If you have any question, this is our office here in Takwala. If you have any question, inshallah, we'll take it from there, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if any of you have any question, you can go ahead and ask.
So, Jazakallah for the presentation to both of you. Just wanted to ask you, when you say we are equal partners in profit and loss, so can you explain to me in loss, how does it work?
So when it comes to loss, there's 3 things that we look at, right? Natural disaster, eminent domain, and foreclosure. Let's say the home buyer bought the house and something happened, like what happened in Texas and Florida last year. There was a hurricane and a lot of people lost their home. So in that case, guidance residential would not pursue the home buyer for the loan amount because our contract is not a loan. If the house is lost, we don't come after you. Let's say if you have insurance, let's say insurance gave you 75%, we say 75% based on our share in the house. What happened with a conventional bank? The bank will tell you, hey, we lent you money. The house is yours. It's your responsibility. And your responsibility to the bank is the money. With guidance residential, you're a partner. That's what makes it different.
I have a question to follow up on that one. So are you saying that clients will take the insurance money? or the share of the insurance company. Like if it's 50% ownership when the house got destroyed, guidance take the insurance company?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that question?
Yeah. So, like you said, let's say I had the house for 3 years and I had paid it off 50% when the house got destroyed due to a natural disaster. And I had the house insured. So the insurance, let's say the house was 500, the insurance company gave me 250K. Out of that, because we had 50-50 with the guidance right now. So will guidance take that 50 the insurance company gave me?
Mama, do you want one grape?
Guidance will take nothing from me.
So, of course, we say we share risk. We didn't say that we take all the risk ourselves. So guidance share the benefit and risk of home ownership for you. Of course, we also want to get our money back. If the insurance is paying you, we also get a share of that as a co-owner.
But that insurance money, it does have riba in it. And that's my question. Is that insurance halal then?
The insurance on actually, according to Amjad Fatwa, insurance for home insurance is a requirement from government. So that is the insurance. I don't want to go into giving you fatwa on that, but insurance on a home is a requirement. It's not optional.
No grape.
If you're not talking, please don't mute. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Two grapes.
So how does it work now in this current scenario? Somebody is taking a house. You're just saying, supposing 200,000, you pay 20%, that is 40,000, and the person maybe 6 months or 1 year down the line, he loses a job. Then what happens?
So yeah, alhamdulillah, we have a team for that, set up for that, and we don't actually benefit from someone's financial stress, right? So if someone cannot make a payment, we have a program for them actually to freeze their account for some time. Let's say people, a lot of things happen, people, unforeseen circumstances, like people lose their job, people get sick. So we have individually actually look at the home buyer situation. Then we have done actually freeze account for 6 months. Maybe we also have done a modification for someone to reduce the monthly payments. If you cannot do all these things, you have the right to rent the house anytime. You have the right to sell the house anytime as well. So we have all these options for you set up. We don't just come and take the house.
And one question is, once you get into the partnership with guidance, and after 2-3 months, do you guys sell that same portfolio to the Freddie Mac or Freddie Mac, whatever the guys are?
Yes. So Guidance Residential, when started in 1999, we had to actually go up against Freddie Mac to accept our co-ownership contract. We actually sued them with 18 law firms saying that, hey, there's a lot of Muslim Americans in the United States here. They want to buy a home without paying any interest. So we had to sue them with 18 law firms for them to accept our musharaka contract. So Guidance Residential have Freddie Mac as an investor, but we buy the house with you as a co-owner with you with our own money first. Then Freddie Mac is not a bank, by the way. Freddie Mac, they don't lend money to Guidance or to a bank. They're federal institution to help the mortgage market to liquidate, right? For the buyers, for home buyers to continue to buy home. So we sell our co-ownership contract, where our stake in the house, to Freddie Mac for us to continue to home financing. It's not the contract that would never change. Whatever you agree with us would not change. And also, what happened with conventional normally, what happens, let's say you buy a house with Bank of America, 2 years down the line, Wells Fargo will call you, hey, your loan is with us right now. With Guidance Residential, that would never happen. Freddie Mac would never sell it in secondary market. They will hold it for 30 years.
They will not sell it, but they're the biggest guys, so they will keep it with themselves. You guys just come. This is what I see the pattern. Maybe I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. The rates the interest rates are going at 3.5. You guys come at 4. You're always higher than the market rate, and after 2-3 months you sell it off, and you guys make the money, and then you just walk away with it. Is that correct or not?
That is not correct. We actually service our contract for 30 years, and you make a payment directly to Guidance Residential. You don't make it to anyone else. So Freddie Mac is just an investor, because normally, because 30 years is a long-term contract, right? Freddie Mac government has the money. No any bank can wait you for 30 years. No any bank in the United States. So our contract, Musharaka contract, what makes it different? We actually partner with you. We sell our stake to Freddie Mac, and Freddie Mac keep it the same contract. It's like, let me give you another explanation to make it easy, inshallah. I will show you also a video if you don't mind, but let me give you an explanation. Let's say I own an apartment. You used to be my tenant, right? Now my apartment, I'm selling my apartment to Brother Abdul Rahman. So Brother Abdul Rahman become the new owner in the contract, but your contract does not change. Nothing has changed from your side. You have the same contract. You continue to make a payment to Abdul Rahman. Your contract has not changed. Still the same. Same thing what happened with Guidance Residential. We should only share our share to Freddie Mac, but your contract, the Musharaka contract, continues the same. And you make the payment to us. There's no change at all. So that's why they actually Amjad looked at this. They say the only way that can be approved is Musharaka contract. If Murabaha, for example, let me finish. Murabaha is a purchase and resale. It's a debt contract. So you cannot sell date for a date. Other companies, they do Murabaha, they take it and sell it to Freddie Mac. That's what they say is not acceptable for do Murabaha, but Musharaka is a partnership. We can sell our share to someone for us to continue to finance. That's the relationship. Inshallah, if you don't mind, I want to share with you a video on Freddie Mac to explain better, inshallah. Is that okay, Abdurrahman?
Or you can share the link. That's also fine. If you don't have questions, you can share the link.
You can share the video. You can share the screen and just click on the play, and then I hope it would play and we can watch it maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, and I have one more follow-up question. Can I ask that right now, if you don't mind?
Yeah, let me play this video, inshallah. Freddie Mac, since he asked this question, it's a very good question. I want to play this for you. Let me know if you see this one.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Let me change the setting for the voice.
Yeah, please make sure the volume is up. Try to max it up a little bit.
Let me do that. Give me a second.
The federally mandated institution that was chartered by Congress in 1970 and sell its contracts to Freddie Mac. First, let's understand who Freddie Mac is and what type of relationship they have with Guidance. Freddie Mac is not a lender, and certainly not a bank, meaning they are barred from the business of lending money to anyone, including Guidance. It is a federally mandated institution that was chartered by Congress in 1970 to provide liquidity for home financing companies in order to promote and advance the American dream of homeownership. The U.S. government realized that local banks and home loan providers do not have enough funds to meet the home buying demand. Thus, Freddie Mac was created as an investor and for the most part buys the home loan contracts issued by banks and then sells them off in the secondary markets to major investors like pension funds or insurance companies. This process essentially equates to buying and selling debt, which is not permitted in Sharia. For properties financed under Guidance's co-ownership program, Guidance first uses its own funds to purchase a property alongside a home buyer, and in a separate step, sells its co-ownership stake to Freddie Mac. Guidance, along with 18 law firms, worked with Freddie Mac for nearly 3 years to develop this unique legal structure that does not involve the sale of debt and is fully compliant with Sharia law.
I hope that kind of explained the whole Freddie Mac question, inshallah. But I will share with you the link as well.
But isn't the source of Freddie Mac's funds sales from proceeds which are interest based? So when they are an investor in you, they're basically investing interest earned money into you. They don't have any halal money, basically.
I mean, are you saying that if I go from bank and take my money, that is haram because the bank deal with interest?
No, because if I earn it from the salary, but if the bank gives me money which is earning from non-halal sources, it's not my salary. That is definitely haram. And that's why I can't take a loan from a bank, because it earns that money on interest basis.
What if it's zero interest loan?
No, nothing is free. Even the processing that they do is basically has some thing built into it. Why would anyone give money for free?
So Freddie Mac is actually a government. It's a government. It's not a bank. Freddie Mac is not a bank. It's a government. The whole reason that Freddie Mac was set up was to help the economy for the liquidation. They want people, banks to, be able to lend money. That's all. It's not, they don't profit from lending and borrowing. That's not what they do. So Guidance, they accepted our contract. We're not charging you interest. When you buy a home with Guidance Residential, the contract is not a loan transaction. We're not saying that, hey, Mr. Ahmed, we're lending you $100,000, you pay us 5%. The contract will say, hey, Mr. Ahmed, you want to buy this house, you have a 20%, we'll bring the 80%. That we become a partner on the property. If something happens, we lose as well. If you make the payment and own the house faster, you can do that. We don't charge you any money. What makes it different with conventional bank? The bank is just sitting there lending money. With Guidance, we actually saying that, hey, we don't want to just, we don't want to give the risk to you and just sit down and collect money. No, we want to own the property with you, make profit the halal way. And at the same time, if something happens, we also lose on the property. Banks, banks make a lot of money from late payments. Their main profit is from late payments. Guidance is not charging that. Why? Because we don't want to benefit from someone's financial stress. I'm not saying that we don't live in a Muslim world. We don't live in the Middle East, in a Muslim country. We live in America, so we have to abide by U.S. law at the same time as well with Islamic law. That's why Guidance come as a solution. Alhamdulillah, Amja ulama has looked at this, said, hey, this is the best available for Muslim Americans. I'm not saying that it's perfect, alhamdulillah, but alhamdulillah is best available for Muslim Americans in need of home ownership. Of course, there's a need for home ownership for Muslim Americans? Yes, of course. There's a solution. Is it going to bank? No. Going to do the riba straight? No. Alhamdulillah, Guidance came with a solution. At least currently, that's what we have perfect. We actually went up against, when we started, alhamdulillah, I want to share with you, when 1999 Guidance Residential started, we were not planning to go with Freddie Mac. We're planning to bring money from Muslim worlds and finance it. But what happened 2001, 9/11 happened and the whole thing changed. So we have to find a solution to go with Freddie Mac as a solution. There's only other Islamic finance company actually that have approved it. Amin Housing, I don't know if you're familiar with it, it's only based in California. The only difference between Guidance Residential and Amin Housing is the community kind of organization. People collect money from each other and then they buy someone's house this year, next year. So that would not really cover the Muslim Americans' need of home ownership. They only buy maybe 10, 20 homes. Guidance is in 30 states. We close every year about 2,000-3,000 homes for our home buyers. Alhamdulillah, we're able to solve some problem, but there's a long way to go, inshallah. Any other questions, inshallah? I hope I answered that question.
No, actually, what you said is right. Nobody gives you money for free. That is for sure, whether you guys or anybody. But how come your rate of interest is always higher than the market? When it is 4, you guys charge 4.5. When it is 3.5, you guys charge 4. So you just are almost 0.5 or 0.4% higher than the market price. Why is that?
So, brother, I disagree with you on that. So normally Guidance Residential, if you are putting below 20%, yes, our rate could be higher. The reason for that is Guidance, we don't charge a PMI. We don't charge a mortgage insurance because that's not Sharia compliant. Our contract is not a loan. Since our contract is not a loan, we don't charge a mortgage insurance. Let's say if somebody is putting 5%, Bank of America could give you, let's say, 4%. Because since we're not charging you a PMI, our rate is going to be a little bit higher because we already built in, instead of charging you PMI, we built it to the rate. You agree to take it. So if you compare the monthly payment, it should be exactly the same. But if someone is putting 20% and above, Guidance Residential is very, very competitive with a conventional bank. We're not saying we're the cheapest. Alhamdulillah, we have a premium product, which is Sharia compliance. But it also costs actually to even make it Sharia compliance. We have to get extra documents, extra law involved here and there. Our contract will cost more definitely than Quicken Loan. But we're not the most expensive as the bank. We're not the cheapest. Alhamdulillah, we try to be as competitive as possible. But we don't go neck and neck with every bank, every small mortgage company out there. That's not our model. But alhamdulillah, I'm very proud to say that we've been providing very competitive, Abdul Rahman can tell you, very competitive rate compared to conventional market. But if you ask me 10 years ago, 20 years ago, yes, there was an economic of a scale problem. We're a small company. Alhamdulillah, now we're more than 30 states. We've financed more than 6 billion actually this year. Alhamdulillah, we're very, very competitive. We're actually one of the top 100 mortgage companies in America right now, alhamdulillah, not Islamic. So we're very competitive. Time grow, Muslims like you trust us with their home financing. Any other questions, inshallah?
Brother, do you have any program for the first-time home buyer which would take into account the first 20% and not applying PMI on top of it?
Yes, we have a program, two programs for first-time home buyer. It's called Home Possible program to give you lower rate, and the other program that is also as low as 3% down payment if you qualify for it. And also we have a 2,500 credit towards your down payment for first-time home buyers program. But of course, you have to qualify for it. There's some qualifications for it. Again, I'll repeat, inshallah, 3% down payment, 2,500 credits towards your down payment, and also a low rate for first-time home buyers.
The other question that I have is, there is a co-ownership model, right? So I think the transfer of property would take place twice in this model. What is the actual deviation of the cost that we see when we do a final transfer?
So if you make the balance payment anytime within the contract time, the account, your house will be, you become 100% owner of the property directly. You don't have to go through any legal process. We just send you the clear title.
Okay.
I've actually had a customer who from Pakistan who bought a home with guidance residential. Within 2 years after closing, he sold his house in Pakistan and he paid off the house, mashallah, in 2 years. And he didn't pay any money to guidance. We only made a rental profit for 2 years. So what happened with conventional bank, if you want to pay in advance before agreed scheduled, they actually charge you a prepayment penalty, sometimes which could be very, very high, big payment.
I have one more question on pre-approval. Are overseas assets calculated while deciding your pre-approval or counted against the down payment?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
So as part of the pre-approval process and showing that you have the down payment of 20%, are overseas assets like bank accounts outside the United States valid, or does the money have to be in US accounts?
No, it doesn't. If you have money, and of course, before you close on the house, you have to transfer it to a US bank. Yeah. But we can use it as a verification of the assets. Yes, it can come from abroad as well. But before you close, you have to transfer it to the US bank.
Yeah. So one question on that one, because the first speaker said don't make any major transactions during this period when the house is under the process for the sale. But like you said, you'll have to transfer the overseas money from an external non-US bank to a US bank. So is that okay, or like how would you guide on that?
Yes, you can transfer any money as long as we can source the funds. Let's say if you bring me $30,000 deposit in your account, I need to know where it come from. Whether it's from your stock, we have to see the stock payment, we use stock sale. If it's coming from abroad, we have to see the other bank account. So you can deposit, but it has to be sourced. But if you deposit, let's say a cash of $50,000, it cannot be sourced, we can use that for down payment.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah. Another thing, inshallah, to add on that, he also, Abdul Rahman also mentioned that don't make a major purchase. Let's say I have a customers actually, right before closing, they purchase a furniture, $30,000 credit. All of a sudden, they don't qualify anymore because the debt to income went up to about 45%. So it's always good to avoid any major purchase during the process. Once you close in the house, you can do anything.
So one thing that I wanted to ask on that one is, so from once you have paid the earnest money, how much time do you get from that time to pay the down payment? So what's the duration between these two events?
Abdul Rahman, you want to answer that? Or you want me to? Okay, I will answer it, inshallah. So the earnest money is, as soon as you get into contract, probably within 2 days, you put the earnest money, right? Yeah. Then the rest of the money, you bring it at closing. Let's say if you have a 30 days closing, so you bring it at closing. The remainder of the money, let's say your earnest money is 5,000. Let's say your down payment was 20,000. Now at closing, you have to bring 15,000 when you sign the final contract. So you have probably 30 days, depending on the closing time, sometimes 20 days, sometimes 45 days, depending on the contract.
Okay. And you can transfer that money over from the overseas account during that 30 days period. Would that be right?
Yes, as long as we can also get the bank statement from that account.
Sure.
that account has to be in US dollar as well. The overseas account has to show US dollar.
What if it's any other currency?
You can ask the bank to convert it for you in US dollar.
They usually convert it during the when they send it, but when it's in the account overseas, it's usually in the local currency there.
But banks can give you some letter saying that in US dollar is the amount.
Sure.
Yeah, just some verification from bank would do it. I've done that a lot. I actually had a customer who had about $600,000 in Kuwait account, so he just has to show us that, and we verified it.
Sure.
Any other questions, inshallah, brothers? I mean, I'm really happy, mashallah. Very, very, vibrant participants today. Inshallah, we should do this more often, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like, I mean, after I'm gonna take the recording of this presentation, send it out to the groups. Just in case you have more questions, you can still reach out to us by phone, even after this presentation. So, you know, you might have more questions coming in later on, so you can reach out to me or Abdisa for any questions, and we'll answer it.
If you can just answer one more question. So I just had one last question, was like, so when you're doing the pre-approval process, how long is that pre-approval valid once you have taken it? Because I believe once you do the pre-approval process, it hits your, because you have to do a hard check on your credit. How long is that valid? Like sometimes, like the first brother said, that the homeowner, sometimes finding the home can take months and months. So how long is that pre-approval letter valid? Or do you have to go again and again and do that, and that hits your credit again and again?
So with Guidance Residential, the pre-approval is valid for 120 days. Let's say if we start the application today, April, you can buy a home until I would say August without re-pulling your credit score. By the way, when we run your credit score, you will maybe get a hit 2-3 points. By next report, you should get back that score back. If I pull your credit score today, let's say your credit score is 760. Now you get a hit maybe 755. After 30 days, you should get it back to 760 again. So, and also remember, if your credit score is above 740, it doesn't matter whether it's 800 or 760, you still get the same profit rate.
Thank you.
To answer your question though, we have 120 days, then we can extend it again to another 4 months. Inshallah, if anyone else has a question, I'm very happy. This is the page that I was sharing with you, Amja Fatwa. This is where Amja, actually, this is on 2014. It's available on their website, what says about guidance, residential, and other Islamic finance as well. It's available in Arabic, in English, and Urdu. Feel free, inshallah, to go look at it. And Amja actually, the Fatwa committees are this. Sheikh Salah Hassawi is a PhD, mashallah. Dr. Salah Hassawi is and also Dr. Min al-Quda. So the ulamas of the Amja, they do fatwas in every kind of issues, inshallah. So you can look at it yourself. The Amja Fatwa on Islamic home financing. This was done in 2014. Abdul Rahman, anything else, inshallah? You want to add anything?
So I think we are good to wrap it up, and then you know, if like people have more questions, they can reach out to us by phone or email. The flyer I actually sent on the groups have the contact information and email addresses of both of us. You can reach out to us if there are any questions.
Yes.
All right.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Inshallah. If you have any question, any additional, I'm available anytime to answer your question over email or phone call as well. I know Islamic finance is a little bit new thing for a lot of people, so I understand people have a question every day. I'm open to answer your questions, inshallah. If you also next time, maybe we're going to do another one, maybe invite your friends, family members, so we can do more explanation, inshallah. Thank you so much from my side. Jazakumullah khairan.
Thank you, brother, for sharing the knowledge.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair. Thanks.